Are PDFs dead? Are lead magnets relevant? And how can you make it work for you in 2026? How can you turn your lead magnets into a strategic client acquisition strategy for your business in 2026? This way, you're not always on the flywheel of relying on referrals. You're not always relying on your content to bring you inbound leads, but you actually have a strategic way to predict how many clients you're going to get every single month and at what cost it's going to be. But the foundation of this whole, after your service, the lead magnets. So I'm going to dive deep into 2026 lead magnets framework, how you can adapt it for your service business or your fractional executive business, and what steps to take. Let's get right into it. We're in a post-content era. Gone are the days where your content is your lead magnet. Gone are the days when just posting on LinkedIn or posting on any of these platforms will guarantee you qualified leads. We've been inundated with so much content, both useful and unuseful, in the past few years that now people have an inbuilt resistance to content. So the time where we used to lock away content with PDFs and have them locked behind the framework of our sales or marketing efforts is no longer relevant. It won't work for you in 2026. It's obsolete. And one of the reasons why that is the skepticism is so high in the market, and that's because people have downloaded so many PDFs and they've gotten no results out of it. They have even paid for some services and gotten no result out of it. So now you have to think of ways that you can earn the trust of your target audience speedily without bogging them down or without asking so much commitment to you that they immediately take their eyes off your page or your content or your ads. Now, do PDFs still work? Do documents and sharing documents and non-interactive lead magnets or low-effort lead magnets, do they still work? Yes, they work. But at the end of the day, when you do this, what you're doing is filling your CRM hub with unqualified leads or people who are just casual or curious observers. You're not filling your lead pipeline with people who are actually intentional about the service that you provide. So before, we used to put lead magnets on guesswork. I sell this service or I offer this service, so let me create this kind of lead magnets. That doesn't work anymore. You can't just assume your way into the right lead magnets. You actually have to do a deep research and a market analysis on your target audience to determine the best kind of lead magnets to provide for them or to create for them. Also, one of the issues we have with previous lead magnets is that it used to be one for all. There's the same lead magnets for the person who is maybe in a great zone as the same lead magnet with someone who is maybe in an okay zone or someone who is doing badly in their business or poorly in their business. It's the same lead magnets that we used to offer to everybody. But that doesn't work, because even someone who is doing good in their business, someone who is doing maybe about 100,000 might have different needs from someone who is doing maybe $1 million in revenue per month. So those lead magnets that we used to have that generalized everybody and give them the same results, it doesn't work anymore. It's personalized approach, customized approach that works. That's what we've been seeing work in our own campaigns and strategies for clients, and I can bet you a lot of money that is what's going to work in 2026. In 2026, clients or your target audience are going to require more customization, more personalization, and lead magnets that are actually tailored to them, not the general public. In 2026, it's time to focus on listening, not guessing. You're not guessing what your market needs. You're not guessing what the different ICP you serve needs, but you're actually listening to them. You're going to the places where they hang out. You're digging into conversations. You're analyzing the conversations. You're analyzing the pain points and then building your lead magnets based on that. Here's the 2026 lead magnets framework that I hope you adopt, because it's been working for us and I am sure will definitely work for you. So the first step is a digital stakeout. The next step is the Lead Magnet Duet, and if you've watched my previous videos, you know what this part is. And then the third part is the conversion architecture, the pathway. Now, for the first part, which is the digital stakeout, we don't like I said before, we don't build based on assumptions. We listen and then we build based on documented pain. Before we create anything, we identify who are ideal target audiences, which I presume you already have for your business. But more than that, you also want to identify the ideal target audience for that particular service. So you might have 4 or 5 different services or 3 different tiers of services that you offer, and they might fit for different, you might have different ICP for each of those services, because one ICP might not need the other service, but that ICP might need another service that you offer. So someone who is, if you're a financial advisor, for example, or if you're a retirement planner, the advice that someone who is in their 50s and who is a C-suite executive needs is different from someone in their 20s or their early 30s who is just starting or who's just building a strong foundation for their retirement plan. And even if the person in their 50s doesn't have any retirement plan yet, the upscale or the fast track advice you give them might be different from what you give to a 30-year-old who's just building their financial foundation, or a 20-year-old who's just building their financial foundation. So that's what I mean when I say that you might have different target audience for different services. So you need to identify who is the specific target audience for that specific service. This is the foundation on which the first step is built. So once we have this, once you've identified the ideal customer profile, what we do then is we listen. We go to, we do community intelligence, public feedback loops, and the dark social layer. So for community intelligence, we go to subreddit groups, niche subreddit groups, Discord groups, relevant Facebook groups. And then for public feedbacks, which is from people who have probably used the same service or similar service, we go to Google reviews, we go to Trustpilot, we go to G2, we go to all these review platforms. And then the dark social layer is going to Substack communities and looking at the comment sections, or we go to the LinkedIn top voices. We want to go through their comment sections. What we're doing in all of this is to aggregate the conversation and make sure that we're in the know of what your ICP needs. We know what their pains are. We know the conversations they're having. We know the pains they're expressing. We know what solution, or we know what products they desire, because a lot of the time if you listen to your target audience, they're going to tell you what they need, and we're going to be able to tailor your services towards those needs. Phase 2 is the Lead Magnet Duet. So if you've watched my previous video here, you know what I mean about Lead Magnet Duet. So for lead magnets, we have interactive. All lead magnets basically can be categorized under interactive and non-interactive lead magnets. Interactive lead magnets, they require some sort of action, immediate action from the ICP or from the person who is using it. While non-interactive lead magnets aren't exactly action oriented, they're more relaxed and laid back. But because they're relaxed and laid back doesn't mean they don't have their own place in your sales funnel. They actually do. We don't just stick with non-interactive or interactive, we pair both of them. And the reason why we do this is because interactive lead magnets have up to 40% conversion rate, while non-interactive lead magnets, the PDFs, they have just about 6 to 10% conversion rate, or even lower than that. However, they have their place. They are your authority builder, they are your expertise establisher. While your interactive lead magnets, they help you qualify leads immediately, but then also they help you establish some sort of trust with your target audience. So for us, and especially in the phase 2 of your 2026 lead magnet strategy, you want to make sure that you're coupling your interactive and your non-interactive lead magnets. So you're providing instant personalized diagnosis with your interactive lead magnet. You have quizzes, you have calculators, you have audit. People commit. It's easier for people to commit to a 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes quiz than it is for them to commit to a 30-minute meeting in the first contact. Your first contact with someone who doesn't know you from anywhere, or someone who has only casually interacted with your contents before, it shouldn't be for them to book a 20-minute conversation with you or 30-minute conversation with you. That's a big ask for someone who doesn't know you, who doesn't know if you are who you say you are. However, if you just ask them for 2 to 5 minutes of their time, or even 8 minutes of their time to use a quiz, although I don't know what kind of quiz you're building that requires 8 minutes. Usually, quizzes, calculators, assessors, they take about 2 to 5 minutes. So it's easier for you to ask them to commit only 3 minutes of their time to using a lead magnet than it is for you to ask them to build a straight call with you. And the good thing about them using a calculator or an interactive lead magnet first is that there is an initial trust that you've already built. There is also the initial interaction. They have the diagnostic, they know exactly what your problem is and the possible solutions. That makes the next step of booking a conversation with you very easier for them to take. So you've done the interactive lead magnets, and now we're going to the anchor, which is a non-interactive lead magnet, which is the how-to. So once they use the calculator, you can directly lead them to a webinar, which then leads them to a consultation call, or you can directly lead them to a VSL. For us, sometimes we embed both on the same landing page. So we have a calculator and then a VSL, or we have a calculator and then an analysis and VSL on the same landing page. Now, we might not have everything displayed at once. It might be that the calculator, the answer you get would then determine, actually it's not might be, that's how it is. The calculator that you use, based on the answer, you're going to be redirected to a landing page which will explain the answers you got. It's going to explain the pitfalls and also persuade you to book a call. It's a service provider right there on the landing page. So we merge both of them together, both interactive and non-interactive lead magnets. And then the third phase, which is the conversion architecture. So you're going from generic funnel to personalized pathway. So the duet will feed directly into a system designed for high intent prospects, not mass leads. For most PDFs, a lot of people download them. I mean, I know I've downloaded a lot of PDFs and I didn't use them, or I didn't read them, or probably just skimmed through a couple of pages and then discarded them. But with interactive lead magnet and coupled with a non-interactive lead magnet, I'm actually more committed to that than if it's only one of these lead magnets that is created. So you're looking at personalized delivery, and then you're looking at the bridge page, and then a low friction CTA. And what does this mean for your business? You're having a pre-sold prospect. By the time someone has interacted with a lot of these lead magnets, your non-interactive and interactive lead magnets, your sales process is almost 80% complete. It's just your first meeting with them is no longer going to be an introductory meeting. It's going to be a closing meeting, or at least a sales call, because by this time they've discovered your problem, they've watched the VSL, they've probably used the calculator or watched or looked at a case study and then booked a call with you. So it's not your first time with you. People are not going to come to the meeting guessing who you are or what exactly you can do for them, because you've already done that in the lead magnets you created. That's going to cut short the time that you spend on during your sales meeting in introductory, gestures or introductory conversations. It's going to cut down the time you spend on that. Number two is going to make sure that your sales meetings are actually a lot more productive than what you used to have before, because you have informed clients coming to the meetings. They've identified their own specific pain points using your tool. They've consumed your methodology with your webinar or your case study or your VSL, and they've already qualified themselves as high intent. I mean, whoever goes through all that process and is still a casual observer, I don't know what to say about those ones, but you rarely get those kind of people anymore when you've taken them through all this process. If you're ready to build a solid lead magnet strategy that serves as a consistent client acquisition model or tool for your business in 2026 without having to rely on content every day or inbound leads or referrals, and you're ready to actually start solving real-time problem with your lead magnets and getting qualified leads and prospects booking meetings with you, then click on the link below. Let's meet in the DM to talk about your lead magnet strategy for 2026. All right, bye.